Hey everyone, Gleb here from Unix tutorial. Today I want to show you a really cool command that can be found on any Linux distro. I'm using it on macOS desktop. It's installed on my laptops and on my desktops. It's called htop. So you probably know a top command that again is found on most systems. Top looks like this on macOS, and I'm using htop because it's showing very similar information but somewhat better. See, so it's kind of fitting almost as much info, but it gives color coding and it shows indication about the key things in one dashboard type of a screen. I'm sure top supports some of those things and maybe even in a dashboard format. But frankly, with the ease of installation of additional tools like this these days, I don't think it's worth looking for the top as much. And so what I do instead is I just added it to my automation. So for any new desktop or laptop that I'm planning to use, I just go and configure htop to be installed. On macOS, it's coming with the brew install. I think I had a few pages on the brew package manager somewhere. I'll put links here in the video if I find them. And then on Linux, for most of the distros, you could just install it using standard packaging. It's a really ubiquitous tool. I really like it for a few things, but mostly because you have basics here in one screen. Let me walk you through them. So you have your CPU cores and how busy they are at the top left corner, followed by the memory usage and the swap. So again, depending on the systems, using or not using swap is pretty important. So it kind of helps seeing this as both the figure and the progress bar. Same with memory. I think what it means is that I'm actually using just half of my memory. Yellow probably shows some sorts of caching, so there's plenty to grow, I think, here on this Mac Pro system. There's your load average, and now that I'm looking at it again, no, actually all the cores are shown here at the top, not just top left. So this is a multi-core system, so there's 12 cores, and you could see them all being kind of used, but not evenly. So some tasks execute on the very first few cores, some on a few more, but like the last few cores, they don't seem to be utilized at all at this stage because it's a pretty idle session. Uptime, which is also useful to know because depending on the system, if it's a laptop or desktop, doesn't matter as much, although still useful. But on remote systems, like on my host for Docker containers or something like this, or even inside specific virtual machines, it really is useful to know the uptime, and it just saves you running that command separately because you see it right here. Main section just shows you the current list of processes, and it's auto updating it based on whatever metric you've chosen. At the moment, you could see that it's the CPU that's highlighted, and so it's showing the most active process on this screen, and the usual goodies: the virtual memory, the resident memory, priority of the process, obviously process ID, user owning that process, and a really good chunk of the command line. All of these are shown here, so I think, yeah, pretty useful. Basically, htop session is a very handy way of getting almost instant view of how healthy or how struggling your system is. This is a good example where it shows there's no real pressure on any of the resources, which is pretty good, very healthy. But the same thing becomes even more useful when you are logged in onto a struggling system. So it will show you whether there is all the CPU consumed, and if it's a specific and not very parallelized application, you would see that that CPU is maxed out on a specific core. And you could look it up and see what happens when you kill that process and restart it on another core, things like this. It's also very useful for seeing if there's memory pressure. Again, this is very healthy, but I think in the future I'll find another system to show you how it would look when it's a different dynamics, when some of the swap is used or some of the memory is used up more aggressively, things like this. Just like the top tool, htop will allow you not to only look at the information but also make active changes to the system, like changing the nice priorities of the processes or even kill some. I don't really like it for that purpose. I still prefer doing these things manually. Kind of makes me a bit more conscious looking at them. Like you almost double check yourself when you're grepping for a process, when you're double checking the command line and all these things. Here it would be just too easy, you know, to scroll to something and press the wrong thing. It gives you all the information, so I'm sure that it's useful in this regard, but it's just not my type of thing. You can use a search function, which is F3, I think, and you can type the name of a process, for example, Brave browser, the first one you could find that's like the most CPU active, shows you the virtual region memory, all of those things. So that's useful, and you can just escape, I think, press it multiple times to get back to the default context. And obviously the sort I think is also very useful, because what you could do is, instead of sorting it by the percentage of the CPU, you could select this so that you could see all the processes sorted by the percentage of the memory they consume, or which would be more relevant on smaller sized virtual machines and things like this. I like sorting them by the resident memory, because that gives you the exact footprint of a process, the actual cost to your hardware. So I could see that currently the biggest process consuming a portion of my 32 gigabytes on this system is ScreenFlow, which is still very humble, 663 megabytes for a video editor that does the recording. I think it's pretty humble. But yeah, that's another very useful kind of thing. Like I said, whenever I find something that needs tweaking, needs fixing, I do not fix it here. So I would just leave that session and then run a command to do whatever I need with the process in question. It's a very simple tool, but super powerful. I really recommend you check it out. That's all I wanted to show. Thanks for stopping by. Please subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.